How is the price of carbon determined in an ETS? Have you ever wondered how the price of carbon is set in an emissions trading scheme? Let's break it down in a straightforward way. The price of carbon in an emissions trading scheme is influenced mainly by supply and demand. This market is created by a government-imposed limit on total greenhouse gas emissions. This limit is known as a cap, which determines how much total emissions are allowed from all participants, like power plants and industrial facilities. The government issues a limited number of emission allowances. Each allowance permits the holder to emit 1 ton of carbon dioxide or its equivalent in other greenhouse gases. These allowances can be traded among companies. If a company reduces its emissions below its allocated amount, it can sell its excess allowances to another company that needs to emit more. This trading process establishes a market price for carbon allowances. Several key factors affect the carbon price in an emissions trading scheme. First, the overall emissions cap plays a significant role. A stricter cap means fewer allowances are available, which usually drives the price up as companies compete for these limited permits. Next, the market demand for allowances is crucial. When economic activity is high, or if technologies for reducing emissions are expensive, the demand for allowances increases, pushing prices higher. The supply of allowances also matters. The number of allowances issued, along with rules for banking or borrowing allowances, influences how many are available in the market. Regulatory changes can also impact prices. Adjustments to the emissions cap, the addition of new sectors, or changes in how allowances are allocated can all affect the market. And like a carbon tax, where the government sets a fixed price, an emissions trading scheme allows the market to determine the carbon price. This approach aligns with capitalist principles by using financial incentives and competition to encourage emissions reductions. Companies face a cost for emitting carbon, which motivates them to invest in cleaner technologies and find innovative ways to cut emissions. In practice, the carbon price fluctuates based on how companies assess the cost of emissions versus the cost of reducing them. If cutting emissions is cheaper than purchasing allowances, firms will choose to invest in cleaner options. This reduces the demand for allowances and can lower prices. Conversely, if allowances are scarce or the costs of reduction are high, prices will rise, creating a stronger incentive for companies to reduce emissions. Therefore, the carbon price in an emissions trading scheme acts as a market signal. It reflects the scarcity of emission rights and the costs associated with reducing emissions. This dynamic drives the efficient allocation of resources in a capitalist economy while working towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions.